One
Saladin.
time, one time I went in to audition for a commercial in New York, and it was the weirdest thing because it was a Saturday audition, and I was like, I've
Mm.
never had an audition on a Saturday before, and it was at one of those places. You know how like when you went on those commercial auditions, like you know the different casting places. You know, there's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe like ten places, you know, that do that. Um, or at least back then. But anyway, it was some place I'd never been to. It was a Saturday, and I go in there, and I just remember it was really hot. Like the air conditioning wasn't on,
Oof.
and there were all these. It was a German like creative team. I don't know what it was. Like, it was just a bunch of German guys. I'm not making this up. And I remember that one of them had like a dog. His dog was there at the audition. I like dogs, so I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Everyone's
This is
kind of like
already weird.
speaking
Yeah.
German, speaking German. And then I do the thing, and they're like, okay, okay, and they all start speaking German. And then they go, and I'm not making this up. They go, do you mind taking your shirt off? And I go, what? And they go, do you mind taking your shirt off? And I go, yeah, okay, sure. So I take my shirt off, and then they go, do you mind turning around? Can you turn around? So I was like, okay. So I turn around, and everyone laughs, like a bunch of German guys laughing at me shirtless. And they're like, okay, thank you very much. And that was it. I left, and I didn't get it. And I never heard what it was. I don't know. Like, I remember asking my agent, like, hey, what was that audition on Saturday? And they were like, yeah, they didn't. It was so weird. It was like this mysterious project. I still don't know. And now looking back on it, I'm like, oh, must have been like they were probably going to traffic me. Maybe they thought, like, I don't know, it might be, you know, if he got lucky with like a lucky punch, he could hurt somebody. So we're not going to traffic this guy, but I don't know
I
what it was.
I
German
just
porn or something.
it's so weird. You never know. And like I was talking to
And it was
when I was
not
on
Flula. People people are asking, was it Flula?
um
It was
but like
such
it's
a weird thing.
but you remember the audition that you said that you had to audition for? It was like for a pachanga or something, a casino, and you had to go in and like get your face wet. I remember you telling me like, God, and like, didn't you have to take our shirt off in that one too? Uh,
Um,
I don't
Maybe
know.
that
Now
sounds
this is me
vaguely
remembering
familiar.
a very
There's some really bad pachanga commercials. Um, like there's one out here. For people that don't know, pachanga is. Am I thinking of, or maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
no, you're
There's a
thinking of pachanga,
casino
but
out by.
yeah. But I remember you were telling
Yeah.
me that you had to be like going through like the brush and then like find the fountain of youth and like push like
Oh yeah,
water on
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
face,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah. But there's a weird commercial right now for either Morongo or Pachanga or something like that, and they do that face morphing
Oh my
thing where
God,
like
I've been wanting to do this on the show, and I keep on forgetting to tape
like
it. Yes,
I'm sure we can find it on YouTube. There's like, you know, a handsome guy walks across the casino and sits down, and they zoom in on him, and then he morphs into like an old lady, and then the old lady, they morph her face into like a young person, and that,
yes.
but it's the juxtaposition, like it's so
It's so
jarring.
unnerving. It's so unnerving.
Like I don't they're trying to make the point. I think the tagline on the commercial is like, hey, it's for everybody. You know, it's for old people,
Right.
it's for young people, it's for bachelorette parties, it's for baby shower. Like anyone can have fun here. But the way they do it is so like
It's like they're
unsettling.
just.
It's
It's so. We're gonna find it. We'll talk about it next show. I'll just tell you that Jason
okay.
Gore told me the funniest audition commercial, which was he on the best show. Best show and I we switched. So the best show was on Friend Zone and I was on their channel. So we kind of cross streams. But you can listen to his full story. But he said he got called in for an audition. He didn't know what it was for. He got in there and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm Jason Gore." And they're like, "Okay, great. Show us that belly." He's like, "I'm sorry." He's like, "Show us that belly." And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Come on, give us that belly." And then he was like, lifted up his shirt, and they're like, "Nah." Like they said, "Nah," right as he lifted up his shirt. Like
So
the
weird.
craziest thing.
So
It's
weird.
such a
I
brutal
remember
business.
auditioning. I mean, the other thing is like when you're auditioning for something and you already know that they've cast someone famous, but for some reason they're still doing the auditions. Like, I don't know whether that's a thing that agencies ask for, like, hey, look, I know you're going to use Idris Elba in this. Can you just see this list of 10 guys so that it makes it seem like, well, like it makes it seem like I'm doing something for them.
Well, while
like,
we wait for Idris Elba to like make a decision, we're gonna audition 10 guys to make sure that we have like a backup.
Yeah, this is a long time ago. But there was a like, it was like a Diet Coke commercial, I think, that Jimmy Fallon did, where he's walking down the street in New York. There's like a someone like right across the street from him, and they both see that they're both kind of doing the same thing, but it was very dance related. It was like some upbeat song. It was like, you know, whatever. And then, but so the whole thing was like very dancey. So you had to go in and like dance down the street, which, you know, Paul, I'm not a great dancer.
No, but yeah,
like,
no one
sure, I'll go do this. So I go and do it. And what's terrible is that like somewhere that tape is in a closet in some casting director of me doing like the worst dance
by
moves,
the way,
but really not trying to be funny, goofy, like trying to be committed to it. And they had already cast Jimmy Fallon. I'm like, why am I doing this?
I remember I auditioned for a commercial like that with like Jason Alexander. It's like you already got him as the Colonel or whatever it was. But this is the shit that happens because I was well, we know our famous story that Human Giant, we couldn't find the masters of our TV show. And many years later, through a lot of our investigation, a friend of ours who was working in the MTV tape department who decided to help us on this quest found it in a janitorial closet on the floor. All of our hard drives, unlabeled,
with all of our sketches.
All the things that were never aired.
Dusty closet.
On the floor of a janitorial closet. And now I remember one time I was auditioning for a great casting director here in LA. I love her. She's amazing. And this is at the time when like still like tapes were being used. So it was a while ago. And they had put me in this side room to audition, like to wait, because I was like, they're pairing me up with people. And I sat in my chair and I looked over to my side and there was a pile of tapes. And one of them was my audition tape for a role that I actually did get, but it was still like in a stack of tapes just waiting there. And I was like, this is weird. And that's how that remember that Chris Klein audition got released?
Oh yeah.
Did you ever see that?
What was that?
Chris Klein was like doing
I just saw something the other day, like someone on Instagram. I don't know where. I don't know who's posting that stuff, but it does make me nervous just because like I'm sure there's 800 terrible auditions I've done that are out there.
Yeah.
But someone's like Seth Rogen. It was an audition for Seth Rogen doing auditioning for Dwight on The Office.
Yeah.
And it was a bunch of different like famous people auditioning for parts
to like
that they didn't get. Oh, you think they did? Okay.
Yeah, because that was like I think on the Office DVD. Like it was like they allowed it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I started to get nervous. Like, oh no, where did?
Oh no, I mean, like that's why I'm like, I mean, like I like at the same time, like while I think that Chris Klein thing is like, it's so brutal, I would never play it here because I don't want to.
It was what was the?
It was from Mamma Mia.
I remember the audition.
It was Mamma Mia, and like he does a bunch of stuff where he's like, "Oh my god, guys, I'm so psyched! I just saw so and so in the hall. She's a doll. She's the best."
Yeah.
And it's like, and look, all the auditioning is a shitty fucking process. You're trying to figure it out. He's not really a singer, and he just goes fucking hardcore in his singing, and it's like, God bless. There's so many bad. I've given bad auditions. Everyone does. Auditions aren't supposed to be seen.
But to connect it to connect it to this directing job you're doing, it does give you like a level of empathy for when people are coming in to audition for you. You know, like I remember.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Way back when we were doing Human Giant, like when people came in to audition for like smaller parts, you know, you would get to see that, or we would have our casting director would send us tapes, you know, and you would see. Remember the one tape of this? We auditioned this old man for something who did whatever the part was once, did it a second time. And then the third time he leans down like this, comes back up with a full beard on and does it with a full beard. Remember that?
Oh, I do.
I was like, wait, this guy came to this audition with a glue stick beard ready to go right there.
That's what
it
people
was,
do,
I
man.
was
People do it, and
amazed.
it's like, and that's like I feel like whenever I can get to be on the other side of it, I love being on the other side of it, only because I feel like anyone who has done it knows,
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's like you just come to it
yeah.
differently. I'm like, I want to give you every opportunity to do everything that you want to
Totally,
do.
totally.
But oh my God.